Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Llewellyn Bissell, and I want to talk to you today about some steps that you can take to help support a friend who you know is in an abusive relationship, and they know too, and you don't know what to do to help them. So, first of all, I was abused growing up with my family, and then I married an abusive man. I've written a book about it called Abused Is What It Is. I've also written a couple of other books too. And today I want to talk to you about some of the steps that I know that my friends have taken with me that have really helped me out and some that didn't help out. And you can choose to do them, you can choose not to do them. But just remember that in the end, the person that's being abused, it's their decision. Ultimately, it's their life. You can't stop them, you can't force them to leave. The most important thing, and this is the first step I'm ever gonna I'll just keep saying throughout this whole thing, the very major step that you need to do. Because being there is the most important thing, no matter how you truly feel. And telling them that they need to leave is not an option. You need to listen. And I mean listen, not listen to form your own words and try to come back and say, hey, this is what you need to do. No, you can't fix it for them. They have to fix it for themselves because they're adults and they get to choose how they want to live, where they want to live, what they want to do. And they get to decide if it's now or later or never. That is their choice. But if you want them to be your friend and if you want to stay their friend, the number one stuff I'm going to tell you is to be there for them and to listen to them. That right there's the main step that you can ever do. When I married my first husband, I had friends that go, he's not good enough for you. He's this, he's that. And instead of listening to them, I went and I told him what my friends were saying. Because he was my friend too, and I wanted us to work on a relationship. And what he told me? He says, you don't need them. You've got me. I love you just the way you are. You know how wonderful that sounded to this 17-year-old girl? Oh, it was like heaven on earth. He would open doors for me. He would pull out chairs for me so I could sit at a table. He would even order for me. Oh, it was amazing. And there were some things that I didn't like. He's like, just try it. And I did. Didn't like it. Little did I know that at the tender age of 17 that he was actually, what's the word I want to use? He was molding me to a life of abuse. I didn't see it. The chair that he would pull out for me would be one where he could see me and everyone else, and all I could do was see him. So kind of in a corner type deal. The doors he would open for me was to make sure that no other man would. He would always order for me because he didn't want me to take my time to figure out what I wanted. So he would just order for me. And I didn't realize this back then. And so I'd go to my friends and I'm like, he's so sweet. He's wonderful. He's doing this, he's doing that for me. And they're like, no, you need to make your own choices. I'm like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Years later, I've had 3 kids by him. And my friend, she's like, you've got to leave. He's not good for you. He's not. And what did I do? I went back and I told him. Because I was so conditioned. I was so molded into him and only him that everything that was ever said to me, anything that was ever done to me or for me, I went back and I told him. And he told me I had to drop her as a friend because she really wasn't a true friend. She was trying to break up our family. She was trying to get him, and he didn't want her. And this is what he told me. Now, mind you, that wasn't true, but this is what he told me. And I believed him because I was so in love with him and he loved me for who I was. It didn't matter to him that I was fat and ugly and kept eating all this chocolate that, by the way, he provided. That is abuse. That was what he was doing to mold me even further and further into just him and not my friends and not my family, just him. She stuck by me. So she would do a few things that you're not supposed to do. Don't tell him to leave. And she told me to leave. And that's when things got really bad because I'd go back and I'd tell him, this is what so and so said. And he's like, no, they're just trying to break us up. And then we get fights over it. And in the fights, I'd get hit. And it was my fault that he would hit me because I wouldn't listen to him. I'd listen to my friend. So again, it's very important that you just be there to listen. Don't fix anything. Just be there to listen. Even if they ask for your opinion, I probably wouldn't give it, especially if it's in the very, very beginning stages of them realizing that they're worth more than what they're getting at home. So just listen, be supportive, sit with them if you need to. Talk about the weather. Talk about how wonderful of a person they are and how much you miss spending quality time with them. That's okay to say. It's okay to build up their self-esteem because when they're being abused, their self-esteem is being squished and squished and squished. So tell them how beautiful they are. Tell them how smart they are. Tell them how wonderful they are. And tell them how much you miss their smile, you miss their laugh. If, of course, that's being missed, then tell them. But don't tell them to leave. Don't tell them that they are better than the relationships they're in because their self-esteem is so low, so broken. Their spirit is almost gone. They can't see past that relationship that they're in. There's this wall that's built around them, and they can't see over it. They can't see under it. They can't see through it. It's up to you and me to make them realize that they can't. You can't make the decision for them. They have to do it. So the second thing, besides being supportive and listening, is to always be available. Always be available. If they call you on the phone, please, I beg you, answer that phone. Because you don't know if on that line they're finally ready to say, I need you to come get me. I'm done. And you're going to drop everything and you're just going to go. No questions asked. Don't drill them. Just be available. The third thing, and mind you, these aren't going to work for everyone because not everyone is the same. Everyone is so different. So different. You might go to a person who's strong and go, hey, you're better in this. They go, oh, yeah, you're right, and leave. You might go to someone who's been broken like me and go, hey, you're better than this. And I'm going to go, no, and you're just trying to ruin my relationship. So keep that in mind. Not everyone's going to react the same way. So the third step, again, be supportive and listen. Be available. And never, ever, ever talk to their significant other, their spouse, whatever the abusive situation is. Do not go to the other person and say, hey, you're being a chrome ass. You're being a jerk. Sorry. You always want to make sure that your conversation that you have with that person and they are going to go to the other person never says anything negative about that person. You never say anything negative about that person. Let them figure it out for themselves. Because the more negative that you talk about their significant other, their spouse, whatever it is, they're going to go back and they're going to fight, which means that you two are going to fight. And you don't want that. You want to make sure that you're always available, like I said in step 2. What happened between me and my friend is for years we didn't talk. And I missed her. I missed her horribly. Because we were together since 2nd grade, and she was my best buddy and my best friend, and I could tell her anything. But I thought I could with my now ex-husband. Wasn't the same. So just be there. Be available. Be supportive without being mean. Do not tell them they have to leave. It's up to them. And never, ever, ever say anything negative about their significant other. let them say it and you can agree, but don't add on to it. Another step, and again, these are no rhyme or reason in my head of any order, I should say. In my head, they're not in any order. It's just what I've found. I had I'm going to call her a niece, call me recently. And this guy was beating her friend like you would not believe. And she's like, I called the police, but I don't want to make a report. I'm sorry, but that's very important. If you witness a beating, if you witness abuse, you need to report it. Whether that friend's going to get mad at you or not, you need to report it. Because eventually that friend's going to go, you're right. And always still be there, always be available. But if you see that, you need to report it. You don't need to tell your friend that you did it if you don't want to. You can do it anonymously. You can, if it's in the moment and you have to call that, then please do so. You want to save their life. And I know it's going to be a very hard step to do. Trust me, I know. And I told my niece that she had to do this. She had to put that report on there, because if he has those reports on him, eventually the next call and the next call and the next call is going to go, hey, there's something wrong here. And maybe, just maybe, that friend might get a light bulb going, oh, right, what am I doing? Or maybe they might have someone help them that is more qualified to help them. No, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor. I'm not anything like that. I'm just a woman who lived abuse, who wrote about abuse, and who has dealt with being abused. And I still deal with it to this day. Don't get me wrong. There's things that will bring back a flash like that and like, whoa, stop. I need to regroup and refocus. And sometimes it's hard. And I thank God every day for my husband, because he's like, I love you just for who you are. Sarcasm and all. But if you ever have a friend that is being abused, don't tell them they have to leave right now. Don't tell them that they're better, that they deserve better, because their self-esteem is so low. They need to be brought back up first. So give them affirmations. Tell them how wonderful they are, how smart they are, how kind they are. Whatever their qualities are, make sure that you keep bringing up those qualities every time you talk. Because eventually, the positive will outweigh the negative. And when that negative goes down and down, the positive goes up and up. They're going to go on their own and go, sorry, we're done. I hope this has helped some. Please leave me messages if there's anything else that you want to hear about. Maybe clarification on a few things. But life is short as it is. Don't make their life more difficult by going to the other person or saying negative things. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed day, everyone. Take care.